closed meeting? Absolutely.
Okay, we'll call this agenda and priorities meeting to order for January the 15th. It's 3 p.m. and I will ask Councillor Harrison to please read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. The town of Innisfil acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kenai, Pinkani, Siksika, as well as the Tustina First Nations and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3 within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge that many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harrison. And we'll move on to 2.1. Are there any additions or deletions? No. Could I please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda? Councillor Dunham.
Mayor Barclay, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we will move into 3.1 with Director Vickers on their strategic priorities update.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Barclay. So you will see attached here the strategic priorities that was last approved in late 2023. No changes have been made to this current form that you see before you. So if you have any questions, would you like to go through it, or are we good to just do a top-level review, Mayor Barclay?
Does anybody want us to go through this, or are we okay? We've seen it a few times. Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I don't want to go through it. I just wanted to point something out. I know we all know it, but when it comes to the government relations strategy and the timeline, I just wanted to point out that in the meantime, we are accomplishing many of the actions that go towards the strategy, and just to bring that up. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Director Vickers? Comments? No, if not, we'll just have someone please make a motion that we accept this report as information. Councillor Messaros.
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we will move on to 3.2 with Director Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay.
Mayor Barclay, I'd like to recuse myself for this.
I'm sorry, yes, of course. Thank you, Councillor Dunham.
Yes, so looking for direction from council regarding the listing of the remaining lots in Napoleon Meadows. So council will recall in December 2022, the town issued a request for quote for realtor services for the marketing and sales administration for town-owned lots within Napoleon Meadows. At that time, only one response was received to that call for quotes, with the listing going to RE/MAX Central Alberta / the Blair team. For the period expiring on January 20th, 2024. 2 lots were sold in 2023, so we are now down to 15 lots in Napoleon Meadows. We do intend to construct 3 to 4 new homes on those lots. That report with final builder selection will be presented to council next week. So we'll know which lots won't be subject to listing. So the lots that will be subject to construction are not recommended to be listed with the realtor until they are either completed or near completion, but there will be those remaining 11, probably 11 lots. Council may choose to go back to market for proposals, extend the current listings with RE/MAX, or resume lot sales through the town office directly. So just looking for direction from council. Our current contract with RE/MAX is based on a standard 5 and 3 agreement, which works out to approximately $5,000 a lot, because most of the lots are in and around that $100,000.
Okay, thank you, Director Jenkins. A couple of questions. One, I guess the thought process behind not listing one of the new builds, kind of off the bat, because I think that may help sell. I can't remember, I think we did that at Hazelwood, did we not?
So
Or
the lots in Hazelwood were listed, were still under contract when we started the construction.
Okay.
Having the realtor in the process during the build complicated
Okay.
the conversations
Yeah.
between potential purchasers and the builders and what those expectations were. So it's cleaner that if someone wants to purchase one of the houses while they're under construction, they would deal directly through the builder. And that would be dealt with that way. Then once we've taken possession from the builder, we would relist with a realtor so they could
Okay.
be shown and
Sure.
marketed that way.
Okay, no, that makes sense, thank you. And then secondly, I appreciate what the Blair team has done, for sure, but I just think in the name of fairness, maybe we should send this back out to the market and have people submit. I know we haven't had proposals from others, but I think we should always give that opportunity to our community and our realtors in the community, so. Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Jean. Mayor Barclay. I would agree with you, like putting it to the market, or not putting it to the market, but actually opening it up to everybody shows that we're being transparent and it's fair across the board. And I'm certain that the Blair team would, knowing Darcy and Nicole, they'd come back and want to work with us. But I would totally agree with that approach. It's just cleaner that way. Thanks.
Right, thank you. Councillor Wing?
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Yes, I would agree. My question, though, is if we have listings set to expire on the 20th and we are going to go into a procurement process, do we have time? Can we just sign a 30-day or 60-day to get us through?
Yes, we can either do that, we could do a short-term extension, or we are able to manage the sales if someone comes in that interim period. If we go back to quote, we would put it out for 2 or 3 weeks, looking for quotes to come back, so we shouldn't have a huge gap in that coverage.
I would think 2 weeks is adequate, Director Jenkins, and yeah, I mean, just because it's expired, people can still be involved, and
Yep.
I think, Councillor Bates?
I think I agree with everything I've heard. Did I just hear that we would give a short extension? No? Does that cause difficulties to the agents that have signs up and all that kind of stuff, or?
I guess if they do expire, they should likely come down. Their online listings would expire as well during the time frame. We probably wouldn't get the larger sign down
The one that's on?
until there's if there is a change. But
Yeah, well, as long as we're doing it in an appropriate business like fashion, and I do agree with putting it back out there. Thank you.
Maybe what you can do, Director Jenkins, well, I know you will, you can speak to them and
Yeah.
see what, and if need to extend, I'm not sure that they do extensions for 2 weeks if they can or not, but anyway, we'll let you figure that out and go from there. So, do you need, well, we don't make motions in A&P, so I think we'll just accept this report as information, and we can make a motion to give you direction to go out to the market if somebody would like to make that motion, then that we will have the town of Innisfail issue an RFD, sorry, for see, I'm thinking real estate, RFD for
I'll
for
move
listing.
whatever she just said.
Okay.
Got it?
Got
Yes,
it,
I would make
yes,
that motion.
yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, any further discussion or comments? All in favor? All right, thank you. And we'll go into, oh yeah. Yeah, who?
He's in the penalty box. 2 minutes, you're out.
Thank you, Councillor Dunham, for doing that. We'll go into 3.3 on building permit stats with Director Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Just looking to provide council with an overview of building permit activity for 2023. So 2023 did see significant development activity, particularly in the commercial sector. Over 9.7 million of construction projects were undertaken, well over 2.5 million over 2022. 13 additional dwelling units were created in 2023, up from the 7 in 2022. Commercial development values are largely a result of the Shoppers Drug Mart project, the Henday Mall exterior upgrades, and the 4507 Street Plaza projects. The overall number of building permits also increased substantially from 67 in 2022 to 99 in 23. 752 business licenses were issued in 2023, slightly down from the overall number in 2022. So the spreadsheet is attached for council's information, which gives you sort of year-over-year data going back as far as 2012, just 2012. So yeah, we'll take any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you. With respect to the new building on 46th and 50th, so I'm assuming maybe Shoppers has improvements as part of that permit, but the new building on 46th and 50th wouldn't? It would just be the exterior at this point in time?
Correct. So for Shoppers Drug Mart, the building permit for the building as well as the interior tenant improvements were issued in 2023, where none of the interior improvements have been captured in the 2023 numbers for the plaza on 50th.
Okay, I'm also wondering, Director Jenkins, is there a way, and can start this year maybe, where we can track new business licenses? I know I sign certificates every month for new businesses, but I'm wondering if that's possible, just so we know at the end of the year that we have X number of new businesses.
Mayor Barclay, inside our business license program in our finance software, I can generate a report with the start date of that business, the day that business was approved to be an operational. So I can do that going forward with new businesses each year. It's just a different report I have to pull with a different date parameter. So yes, we can generate that.
Can you do that going backwards or no?
Since 2020 in the system, yes, I can.
Okay.
Any business that was opened prior to that will have a static date in there, but anyone after that, any new businesses after that, I can for sure.
Just be interesting to know what, like last year, how many new businesses that were opened. Seemed to sign quite a few of those things, so. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, not a question, just an observation. I suggest that most of the residential increase was probably due to the Malibu having auctioned off 5 lots, and most of them went at a fairly distressed price and did get built on. So that's just my observation. Thank you.
Director Jenkins, would the new 8-plex be part of this?
So these stats are pulled on building permits.
Okay.
So the 8-plex that was approved by MTC a couple of months ago, they have not applied for a building permit yet. So that would not be captured within this these
thank you.
statistics.
Thanks. Any further questions about this? Good numbers, good to see. Hopefully it keeps rolling.
Just as an ad for council's sort of understanding, that's part of the reason why we do it off of building permits is building permits generally translate to a project being completed. Oftentimes a development permit may be applied for and the project doesn't actually come to fruition. So these are on building permits where they're moving forward.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Can I please have someone then just make the motion that we accept this report as information? Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to accept this.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we will move into correspondence and information. Just get you to scroll through those. Juanita, thank you. There's RCMP stats in there for last month and some information, well, the minutes from the Water Services Commission and some information about the Wastewater Commission strat planning session coming up. So if there's no questions about any of that, I'll have somebody please make a motion that we accept the correspondence as information. Councillor Bates?
I'll make that motion that we accept the correspondence for information.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we'll move into our roundtable, and we'll begin today with Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'll start by letting council know that the FCM Caucus of the Prairies is in Prince George, March 4th to 7th. It's possible to have a in-person or online attendance, and I would propose that I do an online attendance. It's between March 4th and 7th, so if that's okay with council, I'll go ahead and register that way. I have registered for the LGFF capital allocation formula webinar this week, Thursday. And in regards to the chamber meeting last week, the biggest issues continue to be sign permitting and staffing. And we've got a special meeting tonight with Red Deer Chamber to discuss a potential services package that they might be able to provide in lieu of hiring an executive director. And the trade show dates are April 5th and 6th, and those are confirmed.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Dunham?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Last week was a quiet one for me. I do have the CSSC meeting on the 17th, and I have also signed up for the webinar this week.
All right, thank you. And Councillor Heistad?
Thanks, Your Worship. On the 11th, I had a policing committee meeting. We actually, at that meeting, we went through our draft questions to the community, and also on the 22nd, we will have the RCMP will be having an open house. And just for the indulgence of the media, the crime stats are all in the correspondence, and just so you're aware. But and then also this weekend is the Historical Village has the Tumbleweed event on the 20th. I always mess up the name of that one. And then I have not LGFF. I still need to sign up for that, but that's my intent, and that's all I have this week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Harrison?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, through to council. Very quiet week again. I have coming up on Thursday here our RD Mug meeting in Drumheller, and I will be attending in person. Excuse me, I think it's a very important meeting that Zoom is good, but Zoom is not the best, so not for these kind of things. There's going to be a lot of discussion, I understand, around water and how we're going to go forth with some of the comments that have come out in the last couple of weeks from the government. So I have yet to see the agenda, but I'm looking forward to getting something from the exec director and getting prepared for this week. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Councillor Bates?
Okay, so last week, the first thing that I attended was our Mountain View Regional Water Commission. And we did talk about the bulk water sales that we had previously addressed, and I think there's some correspondence this week in the correspondence, and how it did abate after the special meeting. It was very much good response, I guess, somewhat similar to the power request that happened on Saturday. Anyway, it was good response. We also talked about our audit preparation and had an initial meeting with our auditor. This was all a Zoom, by the way. No mention from that audit group about anything to do with risk in the future. They are, apparently that risk event that we hear about here is to municipalities, not to commissions. And going forth though, and I'll be including a bunch of correspondence in next week's. They're planning to have a strategic planning and consultation meeting on January the 24th. The meeting is at the Innisfail Legion. They're inviting member commission reps such as myself, the alternates such as Councillor Wing, operation managers or directors, Stephen, and utilities heads, whoever Stephen should decide to invite. CAOs, they're aware that ours won't be there initially. One of the major subjects that will be discussed at that meeting will be the preparation of a drought committee within the commission, and yeah, we'll see how that evolves. For sure, they are trying. We got to take my council hat off. Put my council hat on. So if I say they, the commission is trying to be proactive and be totally prepared if drought does become a significant factor. What are various stages that we might look at, and what are the things specific communities could look at relative to their uniqueness. It's interesting as I think about it, because some of the communities in the commission are on the sewer system, so we've all been conditioned to be pretty careful saving water because we pay for the sewage. Some others aren't. Some have much more industry than others. So some have much more I&I than others. So there's all kinds of factors that I can see us down the road discussing. It's been kind of inferred that that committee should have elected officials. So my assumption, and I've talked to the CAO, it probably will consist heavy duty of the members that are on the commission. But I specifically would like to ask my backup, Councillor Wing, to attend this discussion and probably all of those meetings. And that's assuming that I'm on the committee, and I'm not sure that I will be, but I'm assuming I will be. So I'm making that request and assuming that that's a good go-ahead thing for us to do. Yeah, we had talked previously about there being a meeting with Olds and then a subsequent meeting with the operators. That didn't occur over the holiday season, so ironically it's going to happen the day after the strategic planning consultation that I just talked about. And I would assume that if you think about what we went through this last weekend, having heard no issues whatsoever from the water system, it's indicative of the sound operation that they have. Like Councillor Heistad, I attended the Police and Safe Communities. He's covered virtually all of that. I will just point out, BASA is kind of leading the survey this time and modifying the old survey slightly. Our communications folks were there, Ken. And it does have a little more emphasis this time on safety and well-being than just police and safe community. It's more on safe. It's got a certain emphasis on that, and it also is going to have a split to engage the youth. And Councillor Heistad actually suggested some specific incentives for the youth, which, yeah. And that's all I have. Oh, this week I plan, MPC tomorrow's canceled, so I do plan to engage though in the Muni seminar and snowballs and tumbleweeds on the weekend.
Thank you. Councillor Wing?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I don't have anything to report from last week. And this Thursday, like the rest of my colleagues, I am registered to participate in the Alberta LGFF Capital Workshop. But other than that, pretty quiet, which is good because it's pretty cold.
Okay, and I'm going to report next week. And while we're on the reporting discussion, I know there was some confusion last week about what we're doing, but I know CO Becker is thinking maybe we should do our reports every 2 weeks, like the written reports, because every week would be a heck of a lot of paperwork, and some weeks people aren't going to have much. And so if we did it every other week, does that work for council to submit on, was it Thursday, Juanita, by noon? the day before, the week before the Monday council meeting. So the second and fourth Mondays, the council meetings, we'll still have roundtable discussions on A&P, but, you know, I think today is a great example with all the information around the water with Councillor Bates. I think that would be great to have, like well, there'll be lots more coming, but a written report going forward and have that into our agenda packages. So is everybody okay with that, or? Yeah. Okay.
I'll just make one comment about the water. The normal commission meetings are every second Wednesday. And quite often, they wouldn't have even their draft minutes out for the Thursday. So it might have a week delay when I actually turn the report in.
It's okay.
But I'll still continue to give the verbals as best yeah. And I can adapt to the suggestion that came around.
Yeah, for sure. It works well. And I'm also curious, and maybe Councillor Bates, you can comment on this, but, you know, talking around water conservation and whatever, did you want to, like next week, have some information coming to council on our utility bylaw and our conservation efforts? And I know you've got some information in front of you that...
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So, just as a result of it, having attended the meetings that I mentioned and knowing what's coming up, I asked if I could get a couple of documents just to have and printed and be carrying around for my future. And one of them was the toilet rebate program that I've used and lots of us are aware of, and it's totally active, and the folks at the front desk are running it. But we don't have a good background documentation for it being a policy, and we probably should update that by the looks of it. So I guess if we want to give direction for administration to address that, that would be one. And then I would assume the other thing that we should all do is become quite familiar with our utilities bylaw and stay focused on this, because I have a feeling down the road we're going to be asked, you know, what if you were asked to reduce your consumption? You know, how would you face some of your businesses and your neighbors and lawns and all the other things that go with? So it is a focus thing that we all should down the road focus on.
So what we can do, Councillor Bates, maybe for next Monday, Director Vickers, we could have that item on the agenda, and we could just kind of overview what existing, like the existing toilet replacement, and
Yes.
then the utilities.
Yeah, Mayor Barclay, I can write a report that shows what we're doing currently for the toilet replacement
Yeah,
program.
sure.
As well as identify what we have currently in our bylaw, and then ask for future direction from
Yeah.
that point.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, none of this is going to be really short, high priority.
No, it's not urgent, and
It's just kind of interesting that it's a great program. It's all functioning, and we just found out we didn't have good documentation
Yeah.
behind it.
And I think it's good to know, you're right, on the conservation part too. And I'll also be bringing forward an agenda item next week. So the mid-size towns mayor's caucus, we should have the terms of reference ready sometime this week for that. And we'll be bringing that to council for everybody to review and see if we want to be a part of that. So that will be up next week as well. Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I think, I believe Councillor Bates has a good point with the rebate program. I think it's an opportunity when we do our budget overview is to highlight these things as well, and just really show the community that, you know, what we have to offer them. And it's a good reminder from Councillor Bates just to review it as well. I think that's getting us prepped for the budget and everything else that we're going to do with our engagement. Thanks.
Okay, and we will move into upcoming events. just have somebody make a motion that we accept these as information, please.
Mayor
Councillor
Barclay,
Dunham?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we'll have a motion to go in camera, please. Councillor Heistad?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Go on camera.
thanks.
Thank
All
you.
in favor? Perfect, thanks.